Me in studio to discuss one of the largest basketball events in our area, the Gus Macker 3-on-3 basketball tournament in Norwich. CEO of the Norwich YMCA and the host of the Gus Macker, Jamie Mullen. Hello, how are you today?
I am great, Avery. How are you?
Good, good.
Excellent.
So like I said, this is one of the largest basketball events that I've ever heard of, and one of the largest events here. So really, let's get into it. Tell me all about it.
Well, that's a loaded question. But Gus Macker has been around the United States for about 51 years. A lot of folks think that it was the predecessor to even 3-on-3 in the Olympics that just started the past couple years. But in Norwich, 1995, the mayor came to us at the YMCA and said, "I'd like to bring an event to town to kind of put Norwich on the map, something with tourism and maybe sports." And here we went. I had an employee that was working for us at the time. Michelle Gleason. She was from Belding, Michigan, where Gus Macker is originated from. And so she said, "You ever think about a Gus Macker?" And I said, "I know Gus Macker. I went to school in Ohio. I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I knew what the Gus Macker tournament was, but nobody around here knew what it was." And so we started the discussion, and in 1996 was the first Gus Macker in Norwich. We closed down the city streets on East Main Street. It's the second weekend in July every year consistently. And year one, we started with 200 teams. Then we went to 300, 400, 550 teams. That's
Wow.
4 people on a team. So that's 2,200 players. And we grew so fast that we finally said, do we want quantity or do we want quality? And so we said we wanted to focus on quality. So we dropped the number of teams back. And this year, we're proud to announce that we're at 316 teams, so over 1,250 players coming to Norwich this weekend. We're going to be starting setting the baskets up Thursday and constructing them, and then closing down the city street and setting them up for all the community to come down and play and have fun on Friday, too, before the games start Saturday morning.
Yeah, and I love how you mentioned really putting Norwich on the map, because I'm from Forks, so it's right up the road, and I know Norwich isn't huge, but it really brings people in for this event.
We have so many people coming from out of town. A lot of folks schedule their vacation to be on this Gus Macker tour and come back to Norwich or Shenango County. 70% of all of our players are under the age of 18, so it's very youth-focused, it's very family-focused. In fact, we're one of the only Gus Mackers still in the country that still offer a sportsmanship trophy in addition to our other trophies that we do have part of the event. And I'm proud to say that we're the longest running Gus Macker in the country as one organization overseeing it. I believe Ludington, Michigan, up on Lake Michigan, has been running it longer, but many different organizations have been involved in making that happen. So, we're very proud of the event.
Yeah, and I love that, like you said, it's a family-friendly day,
Absolutely.
so everyone can come out and enjoy this. And other than the basketball, what other things are there that people can enjoy if they're maybe not basketball fans?
So we have 13 different food vendors that will be in the parks. A lot of our local restaurants downtown are open. A lot of the businesses are open downtown as well. A lot of community not-for-profits use this event to highlight their organizations. They use it as a fundraiser. So we're using basketball as a tool not only to bring people together, but also tourism as well as fundraising for a lot of groups. So I know there's a new Norwich wrestling team for girls. They're going to have a fundraiser. The Norwich girls basketball boosters are there. The Norwich football boosters are there. A lot of churches, the Boy Scouts. So they're using this event to capture the thousands of people that will be in town over the weekend.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love to hear that. And you said that 70% of the teams are youth, correct?
That's correct,
So
under 18.
Why do you think that that's so important to really incorporate into the tournament?
I think it's important. They enjoy it because they get to be front and center. We're going to have 28, maybe 30 different courts of tournaments going down Main Street. We have the famous Dream Court where Scott McNeil, aka Gus Macker himself, will be in town, and he'll be running the Dream Court, which is sponsored by Preferred Mutual. And they'll be, having nicknames for the kids. They'll do an announcing. It'll be play-by-play. So the kids get to be the center point. And it's all about, even if they've played basketball before, or they never have, but they're out there in front of their community, in front of their family and friends.
Yeah.
They get to create unique names for their teams, make their own shirts. It's just fun. That's what it's about, family fun.
Yeah, I've gone for years because, like I said, it was right up the road, and I always loved going. I thought it was super interesting to see a smaller town fill like that. But if people are wondering, how does the tournament work? Kind of what's the setup? So how does the days run?
Oh my goodness. So 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday, we'll close the streets down. We have volunteers from NBT Bank, New York Central Mutual, as well as the community that will come together to help us set up 30 different baskets going down the city streets. We have a Threads by Gus tent with clothing and apparel. We have a registration tent. We have a bracket tent where every bracket for every court, because it's their own individual tournament. Yeah, it's one big tournament, but there's an under 8 division, an under 10 division, an 11 and 12, and so on up until the 55 plus categories. And then all the vendors in the park, and the Blues Festival and NBT Music Series kicks off Thursday night. So basically from Thursday until Sunday night when we reopen the street, Norwich shuts down for literally fun, family, music, basketball, food, and all in the name of charity, as the YMCA is the organization that puts this together, and we practice and have a committee that works on this year-round.
Yeah, this is a whole big family-friendly block party, it sounds like. Sounds awesome.
It definitely is, and we just hope the weather's going to cooperate this weekend. Yeah. We know how wet the weekends have been here in central New York, so we're hoping to kick off summer right, and we're very excited.
Yeah, that is exciting. So if people want to find more information, where can they go about doing so?
Well, stop down in person, right? Come down, watch the excitement that these kids bring. Come down for lunch or a late breakfast or early dinner with the food concessions. If you're interested in volunteering, it's going to take over 400 volunteers to make this event actually happen. It's not easy to welcome 1,250 players and over 5,000 spectators to Norwich, so we have a job for everybody. My email is jmullen@norwichymca.org. If somebody wanted to send me an email that they're interested, we need officials, set up, tear down. We also have registration, water runners, because we're constantly taking beverages and water to our volunteers to keep them hydrated in this heat so they can continue to come back the next day and do it all over again. So there's definitely an opportunity for folks to volunteer as well.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Did you get your team in? Were you coming up this year?
I should have. I didn't this year. Maybe next year.
Okay.
For those of you who might have missed those details, the annual Norwich YMCA Gus Macker 3-on-3 basketball tournament will take place July 11th to 13th in downtown Norwich. Hosted by the Norwich Family YMCA, this beloved community tradition brings together over 1,400 players and thousands of spectators for a weekend of basketball, family fun, and local pride. With 70% youth participation, the event emphasizes sportsmanship, community engagement, and healthy competition. For more information, you can visit macker.com.